Good morning or good afternoon. Ooh, I screwed that one up. So welcome to Coffee and Tarot Time, Sunday afternoon edition. So keeping in the theme of astrological signs, I promise the last week of July I'm going to upload a reading for every single astrological sign, and I'm going to be consistent. That's the deal I made with myself. As you notice, I've been trying to be more consistent in my postings, and I'm really scheduling everything. My Virgo is fighting with my Pisces, and that's how it's going to be. So anyway, this is Pisces, because I am a Pisces, but I said, well, let me stay with the water signs. I'm going to throw them out here and there, the readings, and just see if you like them, okay? And let me just make sure everything, yep, you could see everything. This is Barbara Moore deck. I've changed it up. I like Barbara Moore. I like her for a few reasons. It's good if you're a beginner, but I found even as a seasoned reader, it's great, you know. So what I like to do is, and I've done this before and you guys seem to have liked it, is we look at the cards, but we become them. Okay, so we're talking about a Pisces and we're talking about love. And when we get to the first card, the Five of Pentacles, remember 5 is a very unbalanced number. Okay, it's very unbalanced. And I feel like this person, if you were to be that person in that card, you would be saying, I'm okay. I really don't care. I tell everybody I'm fine, but I'm really not. Okay, I'm really hurt. I really miss this person, but I find sometimes I need to tell my friends or family what they want to hear because they're probably sick of listening to me. Okay, so I've always found, as a reader, when people come to me, they tell me, no, I'm fine, but here I am paying you good money to find out about this person. So you don't need cards for that one. That's just common sense. I find when you acknowledge your feelings, thanks, Dr. Phil, when you acknowledge your feelings, you heal from them, But I feel there's a lot of my Pisces out there that feel like left out in the cold. And it's funny because that card there, particularly, is my ghosting card. When I see that card shows up, it tells me you've been ghosted. And I feel like this person in the card, this Pisces right here, is like, I feel like I've been forgotten by somebody. So only you know who your specific other is. I can't even freaking talk. Only you know who that is. But I feel like whether it's you or your person, somebody does feel emotionally left out. So if it's not you, maybe it's your person, okay? So then we go to the Page of Wands. And I like the Page of Wands out of all my pages because a couple things. Wands are all fire energy, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. But also, Wands always tell me that a message comes from a warm place. I don't know why, but it just does. Like I said, you can train your cards almost to make them mean something, and they will. So instead of you reading them, they read you. Does that make sense? I've done it. Hasn't failed me, so I'm going to keep it up. But I like the Page of Wands because it reminds me of a scenario, and I think it really holds some water. I see a person texting, deleting it, rereading it, looking at it, and they're not doing it because they're hoping the grammar's correct. They're just not sure how it's going to be received, And they're wondering if you still think about them or if this is you writing the message. You're wondering if they're thinking about you, So then we go to the King of Swords, and the King of Swords is a tough cookie. He thinks with his mind. He's sitting there going, nope, it's easier if I just work hard, make money, and don't let my emotions get in the way. I'm just going to use my mind to make decisions. And this King of Swords, and remember, swords are all about communication, but there are air signs, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. And they're also, he just blocks his emotions. And I don't think he wants to talk. So if you look at his sword, it's pointing down. He's like, nope, not now. We're not going to do it now. So that may be you, only because you don't want to get hurt. So maybe you got a message, and King of Swords comes around, and he's like, no, I'm not doing it. Not doing it. So that could be either one. Only you know. I don't know. But I think he's trying to control all his emotions. He refuses to be vulnerable. He just refuses to do it for now. So then we get the Five of Cups. And in the Five of Cups, the person I keep replaying the last conversation. How many of you have done that? How many of you have wished that you could take back things you didn't say, to the point that all of a sudden now you're sending out long text dissertations? Raise your hand if you've done it. Hold on, I got to raise my hand. And you just want to make it right. And you're trying to trigger them, because you are, by saying certain things. And, nobody ever, maybe 99.9%, nobody ever wants to send that final text and hopes they'll never hear from the person again. You know what I'm saying? They are trying to trigger the person. So I think that when we see the Five of Cups, we're in this hamster wheel, this kind of cycle, the wash, rinse, and repeat. I wish I said this. I wish I didn't say this. What did I do? What did he do? Well, if they lied to me about this, did they lie to me about anything else? And what's funny is regret has a funny way of showing us what really mattered. We start thinking about what was, So then we come to Mr. Emperor, and he's our Aries person. And I think to be the Emperor, you're just tired. You get to a point where you're tired of running, chasing after someone. You're tired of pretending. You don't know what you want, but you do know what you want. And you want to build something real with somebody. Okay? And then we come down to the card of Cancer, which is the Chariot, And I like the card of Cancer, the Chariot card, because a few things. It tells you that you're on the right path, okay? And it tells you that somebody's made a decision, okay? And they're going to come near you. But here's the little kicker with this. You see they're not even horses. They're these odd-looking sphinxes, I guess you would call them. You see how one is sitting and one is up? That still talks about somebody who's thinking, okay? They're still thinking. So we're going to clarify that card. Hold on. Let me just shuffle these out a little. Hold on. My luck. So the Sun card is a card of Leo. But the Sun card is the card of being vulnerable. You know how I know that? Because the person's not wearing anything. The child in there has no clothes. And when you have no clothes on in tarot, that tells you that you are willing to be vulnerable. So where do I think this is going for Pisces? I think you are going to get a message. I think it's coming to you. I don't think you have to do anything. I think you've done enough. I think if you want to admit to friends that you still care for someone, or you really would like to get back with them, you can do it. I always say when asking for advice, everybody brings their own yardstick when they come to measure. And unfortunately, too, we can't expect to go to our close friends, tell them all the horrible things our ex did to us, and then tell them, and then be like, well, I want him back. Because what you forget, they're going to remember. Remember that. And they're not in love with the person. You are. So what I think all these emotions you're going through are much needed. They really are. And I think when you come out on the other side, you're going to be a different person. But I think you're going to find out that the person that's on your mind has also been going through the same emotions. So I think that's what's going to be the eye-opening experience for you. All right, my dears, hopefully this reading made sense, and put in the comments if you like this format. You know, I'm always open to change. And this is Sunday afternoon for a special little treat. And everybody, have a great day.